Hey, everybody, we are back. Hi, I'm Tim Gillette, one of the few people who run this thing. The real boss is
Gladys Boutwell, Lady G.
the real boss. All right.
Aw.
The true boss of alcohol.
you know that you say that because, and it was just recently I was reminded again. I was told a few years ago that it's like, wow, you post a lot, a lot of liquor and a lot of food. And then I said, well, that's because I really like my liquor and I really love food. So why not post the things you love? And I was recently told it's like, yeah, well, you post a lot of liquor, don't you? And I'm like, well, yeah, but I have a podcast about liquor. Are you following me? And do you understand why? So, good stuff, fun stuff.
Well, let's face it. All right. If you had to talk about, I realize you think talking about insurance is fun, but all right. It makes me want to drink more.
So, your deductible, let me explain.
Yeah.
I was, somebody actually told me recently, it's like, well, no wonder you love what you do. You drink a lot of brown liquor.
What's wrong with that? So, truthfully, when it comes to alcohol, somebody asked me like, you must be drunk all the time. I'm like, you believe it or not, I don't get drunk. I don't drink to get drunk. I drink for the taste. So after, and I don't know if you've ever done this in a tasting, like a wine tasting or something like. After I get past 3 to 4 different things to taste,
Yeah.
my palate's worn out. I gotta take a break. So that I hardly ever like. When we went to Napa, we would go to 2 wineries, and then one time we tried to do a third.
It did not work.
Forget it did not work. After 2 wineries, take a break, take a couple hours off, go eat. All right, before you go back and do it again. It just does not. You're putting too many flavors at the palate at one time.
Yeah, even though you're cleansing, it's not the same. You gotta have that break in between. You gotta have some food. It truly is. I've done a presentation with wine, and I've done wine tastings also because I am an ambassador with Willamette Valley Vineyards. But I tell people it's wine tasting, not wine drinking. There's a huge difference. It's about sipping and tasting, and it's okay if you dump it out. You do not need to drink it. I mean, I got stories. May I'll tell you one of my stories.
Hey, wait a minute. When you sip wine, do you spit it out, or you spit out, or do you swallow?
Unless I absolutely don't like it, I think I did that once. I will drink it. I will.
And this is the one time I can get away with on camera saying, "Do you spit or swallow?" We're talking about wine, people.
I mean, the answer is it depends, Oh my goodness. See, y'all, that's why we have fun. We have fun with eating and drinking and bringing you stuff. And today we have some Irish whiskeys because it is March.
It is March.
St. Patty's Day is on Friday. So we need to give you some options. Because options. We gave you some beer last week. That was options. We gave you Irish coffee the week before. Options. What does your taste buds say that you might like?
I think when taste buds, when it comes to Irish whiskey, you know what everybody thinks?
Jameson?
Jameson's. So we did bring Jameson's, all right, but we are going to taste others today. We're going to do the Jameson's first because everybody thinks Irish whiskey. They think Jameson's.
Yep.
Truthfully, that's all I thought of when you said Irish whiskey for years. Although Jameson's is very smooth. All right. I'm looking forward. I have not. I've not even cracked the bottles of our others today. I'm going to taste it on screen for the first time. So.
And there are other types of Jameson. Most everybody knows Jameson. This one, the triple distilled, as most Irish whiskeys are triple distilled. Yeah. But there's also, I have to show off because I bought all 3 of them together. The IPA edition.
Aha.
And then another one that you may or may not be able to find this one because this one's not as mainstream, if you will. But the other one is the Irish Caskmates Stout Edition. This is one you may actually have a easier time finding. I have not tried either one of those. I might break them out this coming weekend. I don't know. But we're going to start with Jameson, and we have others. So
That's how much I have left, by the way. I remember I got the Jameson's a couple weeks ago for doing our Irish coffee, as well as I still have some of the Kilburn still left as well. But anyway.
So this one, oh my goodness, good smell. She was thinking me, with the buttoned-up shirt, little bow tie. I will tell you, many years ago, my goodness, 28 years ago, man, I'm aging myself. I was out with a friend and my mama. I went to a restaurant, and my friend says to the wait staff, "Do you happen to have any fresh pepper?" And she's like, "Well, yes." So she got the pepper shaker and left, and came back, and it was filled to the top because it was like halfway. So her idea of fresh pepper was filling up the pepper shaker versus the one that you freshly crack. And we just smiled and nodded and said, "Thank you." It was adorable because she was so well intentioned with giving us fresh pepper. So we had to thank her for that.
Yeah. So
James,
all right. Again, I am shocked. I never thought that I would like it. So I'm really interested to see what else we're going to have here, because this here was one of the smoothest whiskeys I've ever had. All right. And I was a big American whiskey, your Jack Daniels type stuff.
Yeah.
Over the years, and this here is just so much smoother. So
it is. And you know what? Some people love Irish whiskeys, others love American whiskeys. Some will one over the other. But you know what? When you find something that's yummy, even if you may not think it's like, oh, I like Irish whiskeys, and you try something and go, oh, I like this. So it just depends. Try things. Get the little guys, get the little bottles, or get these that are, I don't even know how many, 200 milliliters. So this is a 200 milliliter bottle. I ended up getting all three of these little guys for, I think it was like $20. So why not get it something, for very inexpensive, so that you can say, you know what, I've tried it.
This stuff here we used to sneak into camp as a kid, a counselor.
Bad boy.
I wasn't always a priest. I fractured an occasional law as a child. Anyway, so we picked two different foods, all right, for pairing with us tonight, all right? With our whiskeys tonight, we have two different things. Number one, we picked beef stew. Now, I got beef stew from a local Tops Cafe, which is a local restaurant right next to my house, all right? And then we got Hawaiian pizza. Now, by definition, Hawaiian pizza is Canadian bacon and pineapple. Yeah, there you go. So,
and I did make my stew.
So I have a big old bowl of stew here. They gave me a wonderful roll, and I still have the roll nice and warm because I heated it up.
Oh, I did not do the roll thing.
Oh, I mean, come on. You with a stew, you got to have bread. Come on.
I did, but I didn't have any here, and I figure I was going to get the bread from the crust. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, we do have the bread from the crust, but still, it's like I still brought it with because he was nice enough at the restaurant. He didn't even charge me for it. He gave it to me free today.
What's the name of the place?
It's called Tops Cafe. It's like a breakfast lunch place.
Okay.
And they close at 3 p.m. And we went for lunch at like 2:20. So.
So they're like, hey, we got extra. You know what? With beef stew, I think the longer it sits, because this cooked for, I think, 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And your traditional has carrots, potatoes, and onions, and chuck. And I got a nice cut of chuck. Trimmed it nicely, cut the pieces. I also added mushrooms. The other thing I was going to add that I opted not to were peas, like frozen peas at the end. Just throw in a few just to let them mellow out in there. And I did the onions two different ways. One very finely chopped like I normally do, and then the chunky. And it came out very good. In my broth, what I did is that I made the beef broth from the little cubes, and I added more than it called for. Then once that was diluted, I added a Pinot Noir wine to it, and then I added a little bit of tomato paste, and then mixed that in. I also added a bay leaf. So the bay leaf gave it a little bit of a different flavor, and I thickened it a little bit with some cornstarch.
Okay.
But having those flavors just meshed together and then putting them in with the beef. Now, the trick with the beef is that you need to bread it with it's a dusting. It's not a breading, it's a dusting. So after you've cut your pieces, you're going to have your flour, your salt, your pepper.
Mm-hmm.
You can throw it. Some people do it in a plastic bag, others in a paper bag, and then you throw everything in there and you shake it. I do it differently. I do it on on a little tray.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you. But the dusting in the paper bag just allows you to shake it, shake it, shake it, like Taylor Swift. It's a shake it off. Is that the name of it? Shake. And so then you want to brown it so that everything is nicely browned. You pull it out, and then you want to glaze or deglaze your pot. That means add a little bit of red wine vinegar. So add red wine vinegar or just regular wine to be able to scrape off all the little bits from the bottom. You throw the beef back in, you throw in the broth, and you simmer for an hour and a half before you throw in your veggies, and you simmer for another hour or so until it just tastes absolutely delicious. So you're making my mouth water just by talking about it.
So take a taste and let me know what you think of it with this Irish whiskey. I know we're going to go into it in depth with some more stuff.
So I was savoring it that I just drank it, that I only poured a little bit. I didn't pour that much. It wasn't a full, but I got a little bit more. And just enough to be able to taste. Oh, wow.
Goes well with pizza.
I like that. Since 1780, pairing your Hawaiian pizza since 1780. Okay, so when it comes to your stew, you want to make sure you're tasting it with all your flavors, because you got to have all your flavors in there.
So it looks like mine has my soup has got, it looks like there's chunks of tomatoes into it. I see beans, corn, beef, carrots, celery, green peppers. I see some green peppers in there. Oh, and onions.
The yummies. That absolutely goes delicious with the beef stew.
Yeah.
So Jameson and beef stew on point. Oh my goodness. It just, I actually briefly considered putting whiskey in my beef stew, but I wasn't sure how I was going to like it.
I'm not sure whiskey's for the stew.
That's why, I figured the red wine would go just perfectly well because it's a beef broth, and beef broth and red wine go well. Red wine vinegar. And I was out of red wine vinegar, y'all. So I used rice vinegar. And that one's milder, so I added a little bit more than the recipe called for. Mind you, I didn't follow the recipe. I did my own thing. It called for red wine vinegar. It called for beef broth, and it called for bay leaves, and then potatoes and carrots. And of course, I did much more than that because that's what I do. I like to experiment and play with different things. And some people definitely like the podcast thing because I get to cook and try new things. So
cool,
fun. See, you gotta try new things. And I considered going to the little Irish pub to getting the beef stew, but I'm like, you know what? I found a good cut of chuck at Safeway, so
I'm betting even if we would have done this with our shepherd's pie from last week, I bet that goes well with your.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many pieces of pizza did you get?
It's a small from Bellagio, so it's our local pizza place. They've been supporting local schools and communities since 1996. So Bellagio's Pizza. One of the things I like about them is that their crust is not that really thick crust, and I like that. But the other thing is that
you mean like this one?
Yeah, there you go. See, it's not overly thick. It's like a good amount. One time I went in there, this was years ago, I wanted to make my own pizza. And so I said, can I buy your crust? They're like, sure. So I just bought the dough. Now the dough is $5. It was like $3.25 at the time for years. And of course, with everything, prices went up. But I would still buy their dough because it just makes it easier. I roll it out. I put all my toppings on there and I throw it in the oven. I don't have to pre-bake it. A lot of the doughs, you have to throw in, bake it, take it out, put your toppings, and then bake it again. With theirs, you don't have to. I mean, it cooks along with your toppings and it comes out delicious. So.
One of the things I didn't do was there's a new pizza place that just opened next to us. It's called, is it sliced? No, sauced. And it's they're making this pizza in a different way. They're saying they're calling it Texas brand pizza.
Okay.
And literally, they just opened like weeks ago. After having their sign on the building for like a year and a half, they finally opened.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have went to them and said, "Hey, listen, would you make me some pizza for the podcast?"
There you go. They probably would have. Yeah, when I was picking it up, she said she charged me right now when I went to pick it up because she was frazzled. Poor girl. I got there at, I don't know, almost 12 o'clock. And she had all these orders. I just wanted a slice. She didn't have any slice because I'm here by myself. So I said, you know what? Just place the order. I'll pick it up, at 4 o'clock. She's like, okay. She goes, that's much better. And then when I got there, the guy's like, okay, it's $11.50. And I'm like, no, I already paid for it. And he asked me, are you sure? I'm like, dude, yes, I'm sure. I know I've already spent the money. I happen to have my receipt on me. So I pulled out my wallet, pulled out the receipt. He's okay. But that was cute. Are you sure? The last time I heard "Are you sure" was at a fundraiser.
Yeah.
Somebody was trying to get the next price up, and she's like, "Are you sure?" So every time I think about that, you know why I think I like Jameson?
Why?
Because the original person that started it was a lawyer from Scotland, and I love my Scotch. So I think he brought in a little bit of the Scottish heritage into it, maybe some of the way to distill. So it could have been that. I don't know, but that might be the reason. So Scotland, thank you for allowing us to take your lawyer and
lawyer. Oh no, sorry,
John Jameson. So John Jameson, named after him.
So which one are we going to try next?
Do you want Slane or do you want Tullamore do? I have Slane here, but the only reason was I was trying to balance out the two green and green bottle with the darker color, but I'm open.
I'm going to Slane because I opened it.
All right, sounds good. And yes, I do have Slane open. An old fashioned was made with this, and it was absolutely delicious. So Slane, I don't know, maybe it's me, but it's a little bit darker than the Jameson, in my opinion.
So I chose to do this two different ways tonight with whiskey, so people can see, because there's going to be people who like it on ice, and people like me who like it neat.
Okay.
So I actually have both to taste it both ways. Well, which one are you going to do first? Are you doing the same thing, or are you just going to?
I'm going to go with the stew is going to be my next. Because I tasted it by itself, and it really is yummy. Slane is good. I like it. That was a mushroom. That was not the beef. So one trick, y'all. If you ever not have enough beef in your whatever you're making, throw in some mushrooms, and it will act as though it's beef. It really is. It just has that texture.
I want some shrooms, man. So, trying to get me a piece of beef as I dish into my beef stew.
Mm-hmm. Somehow I think this one's supposed to go with apple pie. Today is pie day, so go out and buy an apple pie or a peach pie.
I'd say we were just messing up on what our coordinating days. We did earlier this month with Margarita Day.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. And then our pie day. So today's pie day. Pie 3.14, y'all.
Yeah.
A bunch of 20,000.
Pumpkin pie.
Yeah. But I almost bought a pie this weekend, but I couldn't find something I really, really liked or wanted, so I didn't buy anything. And then I was going to go back today, and I forgot. I was busy. I was trying to get work done and order pizza.
You know what we had on Sunday night?
Pie?
We found a couple of weeks ago. We found a duck in the freezer at a grocery store, so we brought it home and roasted a duck.
Oh.
Oh, I
I'm
should.
glad you found it at the store. I thought you were gonna find it at the park or something.
I'm not that cruel. I am cruel, but not that cruel. Anyway.
So I got a. It's not a duck joke, although I do have a duck joke. We're not gonna go into the duck joke today, but um, many eons ago, I was out golfing with my brother and his now his father-in-law. A little executive golf course with this huge pond, and I'm trying to get the ball across the pond, and I was still working on my golf game. So, I get my iron and I hit the ball, and the ball does this thing that it goes beautifully up and then comes straight down. And then I'm like, where the hell did the ball go? Well, it's in the pond. And then what my brother and his father-in-law are laughing their heads off because, and afterwards they're trying to console me because what happened was that my ball hit a duck. Not only did the ball hit the duck, but the poor duck is now doing this little spinning motion in the water because I have hit it in the head. And all the other ducks are coming around trying to figure out what's going on with the duck. And my brother's all, okay, let's just go. Let's just go. And I'm like, okay. So by the time we got around the pond and everything, got to the other side, ducks were gone. For the rest of the game, no ducks were found anywhere. And so since then, my brother's all, you and ducks, you and ponds. So every time we went there, it seemed like the ducks would just fly away whenever we played at that course. So me and ducks, they're afraid of me. But
Do you smell vanilla when you smell this?
that's one thing that I was going to mention. It's supposed to be a little very vanilla-ish. That's why I was saying it probably goes with an apple pie.
Yeah. Because I like the smell. Like it gives a
kind of butterscotchy vanilla.
Because the one with ice, when I smell the one with ice, the ice, the ice melting into it, gives it like a rank vanilla smell. Not strong, just very faintly rank vanilla smell. But you take this one here and it's like, oh my God, you can smell the vanilla. All right. Mm-hmm. Like almost like you got a vanilla whipped cream coming into it. Mm. Anyway.
I don't know. This one. So we talked about either last week or the week before. I think it might have been the week before, making your own whipped cream. What you could do when you make your own whipped cream, you add a little bit of after it's all thick and you've added your sugar and your vanilla, you throw in a little bit of whiskey, a little bit of Slain in there, not much. 1 to 2 tablespoons, maybe. I would start with 1 and then go to, taste it and see how you like it. Maybe add 2. Mm-hmm. So you throw in a little bit of Slain in your whipped cream, put it on top of pie or on top of ice cream. Oh my goodness, I think this would go very, very well. And whipping cream. Ooh.
No. I really think we should have made the Irish coffee with this Slain.
I think you're right. This is very smooth. It has a slightly different, this is nice. This, I think it's better. It has a smoother taste to it.
This makes me want to go have dessert.
Right?
Yeah.
I like that. It does leave a lingering feeling too. That's the other thing. A little bit of linger. I don't know that Jameson leaves the same linger as Slain.
I like the Slain far better than the Jameson. And now remember, I didn't taste Jameson's until a couple weeks ago. And wow. We should have made Irish coffee with this.
Maybe I'll do that when I get home. Oh, wait a second.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what we're doing next week, right?
Oh, make your own cocktail next week?
Make your own cocktail. You can, we could take the whiskeys we've had and make something out of them different.
We can make Irish coffee. Oh my goodness. That's the beauty of these Irish whiskeys, is that if you go to their websites, you will find a plethora of different cocktails you could make with them. You know what's just because you might like my scotches, I want a scotch either with a big rock
No.
or I want it neat with a little bit of water just to open it up, because that's what you do with the scotch. You just a little bit of water, not much, teaspoon, and it just opens it up. With whiskeys, I'm okay with making a cocktail with, because there's just something about a whiskey that says, yeah, you can drink it neat, you can drink it on the rocks, but you can put it in a cocktail and you're gonna like it all around.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you do the hokey pokey and you shake it all around.
Yeah, something like that. I know.
Mm. And uh 2 ounces of Slain and a pint of Irish beer.
Hmm. I'm curious. Explain. No. All right. Yeah, yeah. But before we go there, before that, the Slain. Which food did you like better with it?
I really liked the pizza with it. It tasted good. With the Jameson, the stew went perfect. I mean, I took a bite in it and then I took the sip and it was delicious. With the Slain, there's something. I think it's the flavors.
I liked it with the pizza, but I was thinking maybe it was because of the sauce that was on my pizza.
There's something that is in here,
Sauce.
the vanilla or the flavors that just go well with. I finished the one slice of pizza with the Slain. Well, the rest of the slice of pizza after the 2 bites that I did with Jameson. And since I have no bread, I'm using the crust as my bread.
Oh, by the way, I dipped the crust in the stew, and that's pretty good by itself.
That's what I'm doing. Yes. Crust is bread, therefore dipping is okay. At least in my kitchen. Mm. 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 That is yummy crust. Thank you, Pelagios. Mm. Well, I will have to say I haven't opened the Tullamore Dew just yet. So I don't know. I'm enjoying Slain so much. So y'all, when we were looking up Irish whiskeys after Jameson, we're like, are there Irish whiskeys? There is an Irish gin and there is an Irish vodka. I had no idea. I went into my local liquor store and there is Irish gin, and I'm like, Irish gin? Tell me more. And then I found out she didn't tell me there was an Irish vodka. So Minky, I think, is the other one.
Mm-hmm.
I found out the original distiller, they opened up back in 2016 or 17, lives in Oregon. Okay, there's.
So now I'm gonna move over here. Yeah, I got mine. I pulled the thing off of it, but it didn't quite crack the top.
I was looking for the little guy. I was having issues, but I got it. Yay! I know.
Oh.
Make a little hat out of that. One of my friends makes miniature fighting little guys. Maybe I'll send that over to him. Okay. Oh, that smells nice.
I've got mine poured to let it air out a little bit. And I'm going to do my double sniff test after what I found out with Slain. With the ice, it's kind of bland smelling.
Beautiful color. That caramel color is just delicious.
Do you smell a cinnamon? It smelled like a cinnamon spice. Not a lot.
I was going to say it is spicy, but I don't know that I smell cinnamon in there, but I do smell some kind of spice. So give me a moment.
Not a cinnamon like you'd have like in a fireball type.
Oh, it has a little bit of a kick in there. there is definitely spice in here.
I can't. No, it doesn't taste like cinnamon, and I can't put my freaking taste buds on the spice.
I can so see this with apple pie. Imagine making an apple pie and throwing this in with the apples and all the spices in the apples. Ooh.
That might be. Again, we picked. I think we picked the wrong foods. We should have picked desserts this week.
Oh.
Both of our whiskeys would have went with something sweet.
It would.
I'm curious. All right, if you're listening in today, whether you listen both live or you listen to the recording, what Irish whiskeys do you drink, and what would you pair? What do you think would pair with these whiskeys? So
We want to know because we will try it.
we will, for sure.
That's what we do. Mm. Okay, so let's see how my.
I'm jealous. Bummer, Sean.
Ew. Yeah,
I gotta pick on him.
we didn't open this one. We had a Slane.
So you have a Slane open on your bar regularly?
No, this was new. When I sent you options, so this is the way it went down. We knew we were going to do Jameson because everybody knows Jameson. I gave Mr. T 4, I think, Irish whiskeys, and these were the 2 he chose. And I said, okay, I'll go with that.
I think it's because you sent me pictures and said, "Can you get these too?" And when I went to the liquor store, I found those too easy. Let's face it, Tim's into finding the easy stuff.
And that's okay.
That's why Tim makes the food every week.
Because if Mr. T can find it easy, that means you could probably find it easy.
Yeah.
And so it was like I put him aside, and then Sean says, "Did I see whiskey? I don't see whiskey in the bar." And I said, "Because that's for my podcast." And he's all, "Well, how much do you need?" And I said, "Well, I need enough for my podcast." He's all, "Does that mean this much, or does that mean this much?"
Truthfully, I bought them, and they've been sitting on my bar for 2 weeks, and I would not crack them. I didn't crack them until like just before we went on the air tonight because I did not want to.
You want to be?
No, I wanted a fresh taste on the podcast.
So I will tell you,
all of a sudden from putting all this bread in.
this was absolutely delicious in an old fashioned. Now, normally
I might try that in an old fashioned next week.
I do a rye in an old fashioned just because I like it, but because my bartender, said, "Oh, we're going to use Slane," I was like, "All right, whatever," and it was absolutely delicious. So Slane in an old fashioned, absolutely a yes. You got to try different. Sometimes you just get an old fashioned. Guess what? When you go to a bar and you order a cocktail, you get to decide what liquor goes into your cocktail.
Yeah.
Mind you, sometimes you have to pay extra.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to pay extra, get whatever they're going to give you. But if you are willing to pay extra, which, yeah, I'm a little spoiled when it comes to my liquors, amongst other things.
That's when they say top shelf or what do you prefer? All right. You know what I mean? It's what people like. Yeah. Our very first episode, we did vodkas, and a lot of people that use their drinks that use vodka use the Tito's, which you liked. Mm-hmm. I don't like Tito's. Gwen, as a matter of fact, we opened it. I tasted it. Gwen drank the rest of that vodka.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because if it makes
the Crater Lake, oh my God, the Crater Lake. If I could get more of that down here in Texas, I would get that in a heartbeat.
Maybe I'll send you. So what I didn't send you, did I tell you there's
September?
I'll send you the reserve. The reserve is even better than the regular. It's absolutely delicious.
So, hint people, all right. As you learn what kind of alcohol I like, my birthday's in September. Just saying, if you want to buy Tim Old a gift, yeah.
Get a hold of me. I'll hook you up. We'll ship them a ton of Crater Lake vodka.
So in the ice, all right, it smooths out a little bit and feels a little bit creamier. It gives me a creamier taste.
I didn't even put the ice in here, and I was about to say that my stew felt very creamy.
I'll bet you I'm gonna try it with the stew. I'm gonna take a taste of the stew now and come back to it. Let me not bump my stew into my microphone.
I know, but it was very creamy. And I don't know if it was the potato. I was blaming it on the potatoes that it was creamy.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Mm.
I kind of like this with the stew. I haven't tried it with the pizza yet, and that's with the ice cube in it. Again, the ice cube gave it a little creamier.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
When you dilute this with a little bit, it gives a creamier taste. Maybe we were talking about that spice that we thought was in it. When we put the water to it,
try it neat with the pineapple, with the pizza. I really enjoy that. And again, going back to what you're saying about the spice, you add a little bit of spice to pineapple and the Canadian ham
mm-hmm.
and the tomato. It just tastes very yummy. I really like that.
Again, it's fabulous with the pizza. And I don't think, of course, I got a good sauce on this pizza that I got, but there is something about pineapple on pizza. You know, that was one of the questions I did on my other podcast, my Tim Gillette show. This or that questions I would do. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Yes or no? And you would believe the opinions of people who think pineapple don't belong on pizza. Because I've not had the true Hawaiian pizza was the Canadian bacon. I wanted to get pepperoni and pineapple because I've had that before. But true Hawaiian pizza, which is what we define, and we define our foods, guys. When we do this, we define the foods that we're going to taste so that we kind of have a similar palate to what we're doing. And we define it as Hawaiian pizza. So I had to look up and make sure I got authentic Hawaiian pizza. So. And I think this one here, in this case here, because it has that smoothness to us, we come up with. Now, it was the Slane had more of the vanilla. This had a spice to it, and I can't quite place the spice. But when you put the ice with it, or you put the stew with it, it calms it down and creams it.
Yeah, this one is very yummy. I like this.
Is there a particular, Ruben asks, is there a particular whiskey that goes with it well with a cigar? I'm not a cigar smoker. I'd have to get our friend Craig on here. He's a cigar smoker.
So there is, since I happen to know Ruben's in the LA area, look up Besos cigars. Mm-hmm. They are Cuban, essentially. The owners are Cuban, therefore that's the style that they go on their cigars. Mm-hmm. And they have Kahlua, and they have regular cigars, and they have all these different flavor cigars. In my opinion, what I love is having a delicious single malt scotch with the cigar. I don't want to have my cigar in my glass. With some of the Inslee scotches, they're very peaty, which means they taste like cigar, in my opinion. I want them to be mild, and I want to bring the cigar into the party. I don't want my cigar to be in the party. It's like you take a smoke outside. You don't want the smoke inside your party. Yeah. That's the way I see a cigar. So that's why I separate my scotches. And all scotches are whiskeys, but not all whiskeys are scotches. So when I'm having a scotch, I want to separate it, and I want to have my cigar separate. I want to have my cigar and puff as I want, which, I mean, I very seldom have a whole cigar. I might have a quarter of a cigar because I just want a little bit of it and I want to enjoy it. So with these, I want to say these are dessert cigars that you want something a little bit on the sweeter side. If you're going to have any of these, Ruben, mainly these two, with a cigar, go with something a little bit sweeter. A hazelnut, a Kahlua, maple, something to that effect, because of the spices, especially in the Slane, and just the deliciousness of the Tullamore. You're going to find it. You're probably going to spend $8 to $12 on average on a decent cigar that's going to meet those criteria. But look up Besos cigars. They're in Norwalk. They will ship, but then just keep in mind you have to pay the shipping charges. So if you can drive there, much better. But absolutely, you are getting quality cigars there.
Yep. Usually I like my whiskeys, my bourbons neat. I gotta say, I like this tool more with ice.
Mm.
The spice, again, I can't picture the spice when we're doing it by itself, but when you put the ice to it, it smooths it out. All right. And something about that smoothing out and that chilling of it that makes it, it makes it go down. I'm trying to think, like, you ever had a good cream soda?
Yes, it's been a while.
It makes it go down like a good cream soda.
So the reason for
Yeah, and let me elaborate on that a little bit. You think about a good cream soda. A good cream soda, all right, it's got the bubbles to it, right? But the cream makes it like melt down your throat, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I mean by this. That's what this when you have it in here, the cream soda, the good cream soda will melt down your throat, and the fizziness isn't going to choke up your throat. Right. That's what this does when you put it. It takes cream soda by itself was good, right? But the cream soda now with ice goes down smoother.
Yes, and when you have a big ice cube, I will tell you a story. So there's Landry's. They're a huge chain. They're across the U.S. Mm-hmm. They own quite a few different names. One of them here is McCormick and Schmidt here in Oregon. There's another one in Texas that they own. Well, one's Landry's. I can't remember the other one. But
it's that guy Robert whatever who was on. He was on. Yeah, it's his restaurant lines.
So, I had ordered an old fashioned, and I'm going. There is something wrong with this old fashioned. I took another sip, and I'm going. It was a sip. I'm going. This is not tasting right. So, it's like, okay, what's the waiter says, well. He takes it back and he says, well, we made it exactly with 2 ounces, blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't care what you did. This does not taste with what I am used to tasting.
With old fashioned.
Yeah, with the old fashioned. And that is like one of the most delicious old fashioned. And I'm like not pinpointing it. They redid it. It tasted better, but it was still not the same thing. Well, went back with one of my girlfriends like a month later, because that's an easy place. I know exactly what I'm going to get, and I'm good with that. They have the most delicious happy hour menu, mm-hmm. And so I was going same thing with my old fashioned. Well, somebody ordered next to us an old fashioned with a big ice cube, and I went light bulb moment.
Yeah,
the ice cube. What happened was they had made my old fashioned with ice. The ice melted, which diluted my drink. So by the time I got it, even at the bar, the taste had completely changed. You get a big ice cube. Oh my goodness, big difference. The flavors are still there because a big ice cube melts so subtly. You get a little bit of ice, which opens up your whiskey or your scotch, but it makes it cold.
Now that's my big ice cube. I want to see how big my big ice cube has been in the cup since we started tonight, and I just poured it over it. I drank the water. I cleaned the water out of it before I poured. This is the one with this is my Slane whiskey. That's the ice cube still in that. So
I spilled.
Hey, don't get it on the computer.
No,
we need the computer to do further drinking podcasts.
My computer's been acting up all day. I may have to replace it. And maybe if I tell my computer I'm going to replace it, maybe it'll behave. I have done that. I have threatened my computer to throw it out a second-story building. Not this one, because this one's not in a second-story building. But when I was at a job, I said, I'm going to throw you out a second-story building. Guess what? All problems went away. So threaten your laptop, it might start behaving.
I just went and got a Mac, and I could solve that problem entirely.
I have an iPhone. No problem with an iPhone. I cannot do a Mac. I've tried it. My cousin Hugo, he has a Mac. I used it. Oh my goodness, it was frustrating as can be. So yeah, Apple, I'm very particular. Phone, yes. Laptop, no.
I moved to Apple 10 years ago, and now it's all I use. As a matter of fact, today, I got a device that I'll be able to, because I'm still trying to get, this is an old Dell I have, and I was able to get my old files off it yesterday. I spent most of the day trying to download most of my videos from when I started my business. They're all on there. All right. I pulled up a hard drive today that was 20 years old.
Wow.
And I was able to pull pictures off of it today that are 20 years old.
I have pictures.
I have a picture of me with a shaved head on that. I couldn't believe I had it.
The shaved head. I still, when you cut your hair, Tim, I will have to say, so in case y'all didn't know, when Tim has long hair, he looks like Tom Petty. And his website was Not Tom Petty. Well, after Tom Petty passed away, the first thing that Mr. T did is he cut his hair off in tribute to Tom Petty. So I've only known Tim, Mr. T, with long hair. And when he cut it, I went, I like it. So I cannot even fathom you as bald.
Yeah, she wouldn't do a podcast with me when I had long hair, but I got short hair. She'll do a podcast with me now.
Well, it's he has this like very serious look on his face, and all I can imagine is him dancing around with a corpse. No, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
All right. So let me ask you this. All right, as we wrap up this week, which one of these two? All right, yeah, I'm not even going to compare Jameson's to these two whiskeys. I'm not. All right, which one do you like better? Do you?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. It depends on what I'm eating.
That is true. It's this
They
one
both go differently, just like the Irish coffee. They both go different with different things.
And the thing is that are you trying it to make different cocktails? Mm-hmm. So if you go to their website, both of them will have different cocktails. So now my responsibility to y'all, and I think, Tim, your responsibility to our audience is we're going to have to make both of these in different cocktails to see what works.
So that's what we're going to do next week. Is I'm going to try to come up with two different recipes. One using each one of the two whiskeys we have from this week to try to do our recipes next week.
Oh, great idea! I like that. You're probably going to wind up doing the Irish whiskey, aren't you?
Oh, no, the Irish coffee. I don't know. I'm going to research, but I am going to. Here's what I do know is I'm going to research recipes for each one of these whiskeys.
Okay. Try. And I think I will do spoiler alert. I think I want to do the Slane. Mm-hmm. I want to put it in the whipping cream. So I'm going to have to find a cocktail that requires whipping cream, so this little puppy can be in it.
Cool.
I don't know what that is yet.
Wait a minute. So you like the Tullamore better. All right. Which food did you like best with our whiskeys tonight?
So in my opinion, the stew went best with the Jameson. Mm-hmm. The Slane went well with the this is the reason I picked Tullamore over the Slane. Slane went great with my pizza. Tullamore was just yummy with both.
Yeah, I had the problem where it was good food. Both of them went well with either the stew or the pizza. And I think the reason I think it went well with the pizza is I think my sauce was a sweeter sauce. Then I add the pineapple to it. It's going to give the sweet. So you get a sweet and a bite. A sweet and a bite. You think about it because we talked about the spiciest sweet, and it was like just a bite of spice.
Yeah. This one has, and when we mean spice, we don't mean like, oh my goodness, my mouth is burning spice. Mm-hmm. It's the kind of spice you would find in an apple pie or a pumpkin pie.
Like a cinnamon or nutmeg type spice.
Yeah. This one has just the...
Wait a minute. Is that spice I'm thinking? Is that nutmeg? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Oh, nutmeg. Are you trying the Tullamore or are you trying the Slane?
The Tullamore.
Okay. That
That could be.
I was gonna say that could be. I would need a slice of pumpkin
I'd have
pie.
to, I would have to try it with an apple or pumpkin pie to really see if that was true.
Mm. You're right.
Hey, we actually got people tuning into the party tonight from Australia.
Oh, hi, Nick.
From Australia. Oh, wait.
Welcome to the party. Do you have
Taste
what Irish whiskey do you have access
Taste
to
this.
in Australia?
My wife's gonna taste it. Hold on.
It's caramelly.
She says caramelly.
Ooh. Is that yep.
What's
So
the
I will tell you, many years ago when I worked for a payroll company, we would when we're calling the call center
nutmeg?
for
Nutmeg.
Deutsche Bank at 4:00 in the afternoon, it was Australia that was answering. And I loved calling at 4:00 between 4 and 5 because next somebody from Australia was answering and the accent. Oh my goodness. It was just great to being able to speak to somebody from Australia to take care of Deutsche Bank and took care of us answering the question, has the wire been received? That's all we cared about. Was the money in the account? Yeah. That's what we did.
So Gwen brought spices up to me. She brought both the cinnamon and nutmeg up. And when I smell the nutmeg and taste it, it's the nutmeg.
Mm. Apple pie, pumpkin pie is what I think of.
If we would have paired this with an apple or pumpkin pie tonight, all right, I think we would really be. I think that this one here would make a great dessert one.
Okay. So one of the things that I did was the roommate came home with this big old tray of cinnamon rolls. And I went, and roommate doesn't not eat leftovers. That meant that these cinnamon rolls were up for grabs because it's like, do what you want. We're not going to eat them. Okay. So what did I do last night? I took all the cinnamon rolls, packed them up, and made them into what would be a French toast this morning. Eggs, milk, cinnamon. What I missed was some butter. My apologies on that one. Mixed it all up, dumped it in there, and then put plates on top to weigh it down on top of the aluminum foil. This morning, threw it in the oven at 375 for 40 minutes. Well, 30 minutes covered, the last 10 minutes uncovered. You throw on a little bit of Aunt Jemima, Log Cabin, your favorite syrup on top of that. It is the best. What would be alternative French toast? Delicious. I think a little bit of Tullamore in that would have just kicked it up a notch.
I am really thinking. Do you remember at Christmas time when I did the maple old fashioned?
Yes.
I'm thinking the maple. I might try the maple old fashioned with the Tullamore.
I would be just like delicious.
Mm-hmm. The things I'm going to experiment with this week. See, but then again, I don't experiment off camera. I like doing the experiment on camera. So like I literally don't play the taste before I get on camera. I don't know if you know that about me. It's one of the things I learned with my Tim Gillette podcast is I want to be surprised on camera and I want to record it. And that was the whole objective I had in this thing was taste and what taste was going to surprise me and everything when we did this podcast.
So if you have a business and you want to be on the Tim Gillette show, you have to apply for it.
Yeah.
And if you apply, one of the things is you answer all the questions, you submit the information, you have to have a website. He will not do a pre-show show with you.
No.
Everything is live. He will ask you questions that he wants to know on the spot.
And I don't know what the questions are until we start the podcast.
He's done it different ways. The last one was envelope. Let's see what the question is. He asked me. Some of the questions are very intense and some of them are very lighthearted, like heels or boots. And I'm like, I've always loved heels, but I live in Oregon. So I'm like, and he's asking me in the middle of winter. I'm like, boots, because I'm in a dress with boots.
I have envelopes, and I think envelope number 3 is out because that was what the last podcast had. But basically, envelope, and they pick a number 1 through 5, and some of these envelopes have the same question into them, some don't. But now it's 7 questions in each envelope. So I'll pull this envelope. Say someone pieces number 4. I pull it out. I ask the questions are red pill, blue pill, beer, wine, drive-through, sit down, boxers, briefs, tacos, hamburger, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, bowling, or putt-putt.
Oh, putt-putt.
And I'm not saying because everybody's like, well, I'm going to pick envelope number 4 and get those questions. Those questions may not be in envelope 4 by the time you're on my podcast.
He does that.
I mix them up every time. I don't know. And I don't know the questions. I mix them up in a way that I don't know what questions are in what envelope when I go live. But that's what that podcast is about. It's getting to know people on a business way.
And it's all about what are you doing in your business? How are you giving back? How are you doing your business? And it was so much fun. Tim, he does it.
This is something that Anna knows about because she has seen me do like stuff on social media. I hate people who have no relation to me just tagging me like, okay, well, I'm in a good mood today. Let me see who my friends are. Gladys, Tim, Anna, Gwen, Sean. Let me just tag them all and tag on Facebook to say we're friends, right? And like, I've got nothing to do with why you posted. Why did you tag me and put me in there? Now, if you tag me and say, hey, Tim's going to be on my podcast, that's a different story.
Right. I will tell you. So we do, we talk about different liquors all the time. The only time I have posted anything about our podcast on my Bourbon Nation, that is a group that is people that like bourbons.
Yep.
Part of that group. The only time I placed it on that Facebook group was because we talked about bourbons.
Yep.
If I'm talking about anything else, guess what? I am not going to post it in that group because it doesn't fit. If I'm with my whiskey ladies, guess what? Whiskey ladies.
Well, whiskey ladies are going to tune in tonight. Yeah.
Yes, my women who whiskey. Absolutely. That, and frankly, with women who whiskey, we try different things. It's all about trying brown liquors and then some. And so if I post anything there, they're going to be fine with it. Do I do it often? No. I usually try to put anything that's whiskeys, bourbon, scotches. So brown liquors is what I like to put there. Could I do vodkas? Could I do seltzers? Yeah, I could. Will I? No, because our main thing are the brown liquors. So you just respect those that you're working with. That's what it's all about. Respect.
So speaking of some of the stuff we had, is Gwen tasted that last ranch water we had in the refrigerator. She didn't like it.
Oh, she didn't like it.
Wait. I took him over to my brother-in-law's place, and my brother-in-law's idea of drinking it is, what's the alcohol content in this? He makes really good homemade beer. Right? I mean, hands down, the guy makes really good homemade beer.
So will he be making some that you're going to ship to me, and then, or I'm going to taste?
We might do that sometime. Yeah, I think that might be a thing. Yeah.
Next time I'm in Texas, I'm going to have to taste it. We'll do a podcast from his place.
Yeah.
Just to tease everybody else and say, haha, you can't have it.
Yeah. So anyway, we're coming up to the end of the show tonight. All right. Our shows are brought to you guys. We don't really have sponsors other than our businesses. All right. My business and Gladys's business help put this show on every week. My name is Tim Gillette with Simple Easy Marketing, and I'm one of the hosts, and my co-host is
Gladys Boutwell with Insurance by Design. I take care of employee benefits in primarily Oregon, Washington, and California.
And you drink in every state, though.
Well, yeah. That should be, some people want to, that is a goal that I will have at some point, where I will run a half marathon or a race in every state. The next thing is I will drink in every state. I think that is more my style, and I will have to podcast from different states.
Who knows? Anyway, we will be back next week with we're going to do some. Next week we're going to take these whiskeys, and we're going to make some mixed drinks with them. We're going to make recipes that we find. Each of us are going to try to. I don't know the recipes I'm going to have. Gladys probably doesn't either. We're going to find out next week, and then we're going to taste it with some food that we've pre-selected ahead of time. You've got to be here to find out what it is. You ready for next week?
I am. Well, I will be.
You will be. All right. I want to give a shout out real quick to the people who actually tuned in and made comments tonight. All right. Of course, Sean. Thank you, Sean. All right. Ruben. All right. From California. Anna.
And our buddy from Australia.
My buddy Nick tuned in from Australia. And I think that's the ones we have for tonight. Guys,
And
we thank you.
Bellagio's Pizza. And what was the name of your?
Oh, thank you to Cafe. I can't think of the name of the cafe now. I said it earlier in the podcast and I forgot the name. I should have. Tops Cafe. Tops Cafe.
And Bellagio's Pizza. Thank you.
Thank you. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a great week, guys.